Good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is the Marion City Council meeting for Thursday, July 18th. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Roll call, please.
Mr. Draper?
Here.
Ms. Atkins?
Here.
Mr. Jensen?
Here.
Mayor Abu-Osley?
Here.
Mr. Sternad?
Here.
Mr. Brandt?
Here.
Ms. Cadelia?
Here.
Thank you. At this time, we have a moment of silence. Thank you. First thing on the agenda is a presentation regarding the application for tax increment financing assistance regarding the Tommaso's Pizza proposed project. Good evening.
Good evening.
Please state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Mike Peterson, 3460 27th Avenue, Marion, Iowa.
Welcome.
All right. What we're coming to the council with is a project that solves problems for multiple stakeholders in Marion. A couple citizens of Marion own Tommaso's and provides a solution for the city on a lot that's kind of set for a while with no real solution in sight. It works for Abode because they're going to get some work. It works for us because it gives us a solution to our problem long term. As Tommaso's, it works for the bank. Sorry. Because it takes care of a bad debt situation for them, and it works for the city on providing a solution, like I say, to a lot that has sat there with a building that fell down. It's a pretty simple building. It houses the restaurant on the lower level. We're kind of just been asking some questions about condo versus apartments on the upper level, but it may end up being condos. But by the August 2nd, I think Dave said we had to have final submission on some plans. The final plans may shift it to condos on the upper level. Just there's some good reasons to do it that way. The architect's here, Dave Brost. If you have any questions, I've got the plans and the layout if the council has any questions on that. I'm not sure what all you want in a presentation like this, but it sits, the 7th Avenue side is that side that you see that has the columns, and then where the patio is, which we found out today from the engineering drawings of where the streetscape's going, I don't know that we're going to be able to do the patio because they're going to take out parking stalls on 12th Street also. It just depends on what the final plans are. So I don't know whether we're going to get the patio in there. But the artwork shows that. Any questions from council?
Questions? Yes, Ms. Gadela.
If you convert to condos from apartments, will that change the look of that? It's just
It'll
the way
be
you're renting.
exactly the same units. The only difference is we were just talking to Gary. He sent on some design specs for some walls that have to be a different fire separation. But other than that, no changes in look, no changes, from exterior design. It's just what type of drywall and what type of walls we have to build and ceiling separation.
And then my second question, if everything goes according to plan and this application gets approved, what's your overall timeline? When do you start and when do you finish?
The minute the council does final approval, the lot purchase goes through, and then we'll start going to bid for the project as soon as we get final plans, so by August 2nd. And then August 22nd, I think, is the soonest you guys could get to it. But we're ready to pull the trigger. The construction loan, everything is set up to go as soon as we get approval. Everything is dependent on getting a final plat.
The process. And when would the completion date be then if you're pulling the trigger at the end of August?
The first estimates were 6 to 8 months
Okay.
once we got through. So I mean, because a lot of the stuff's already in place, but as we found going through the project and why we're asking for TIF assistance is that if you here, I'll show you this. One of the challenges of the lot is the parking lot, but this is the north side of the building, and you got those drain spouts coming down. Well, if you put drain spouts straight down on the lot on the north side of the building, you'll have an ice skating rink. Okay, so a lot of we got to tear up the foundation all along that north wall and redo it. We have to probably bust up a lot of the lot. We found out we don't necessarily have to demo back to the street on the water lines, but you've got a significant amount of work, and then we got to relocate a transformer, and so you got to bust out the bottom of that big hole in the ground. So I would say 70 to 80% of that cement that you see there that's going to be behind the building from the north foundation to the north edge of the lot is just going to be gone. I mean, you'll have spots, but you may just end up busting it all out just because it's more efficient to just bust it out and re-pour it all.
Do spots, sure. And then will you have your current location open until that is finished, or will you have to close?
At this point, the last word I talked with Genesis Equities was, I got time. I shouldn't have to worry about it. So I think we're working together. They're going to Abode, which is their sister company, is looking at doing the project. So it should, they can make a little money. We can, like I said, the city can get rid of a lot that we wanted a solution to. The bank gets out from a deal that they don't like.
Yeah, that looks nice.
Yep.
Other questions? Yes, Mr.
Just 2 comments, Mike. First of all, I think it's a nice-looking building, and I agree with you. We're definitely looking for a project to get rid of that eyesore. The other piece of it I do like is some more off-street parking.
Yeah.
So I know you're going to provide some of that for the apartments or condos, but it's nice to have some customer parking on site as well. So I think that'll be a plus.
I don't know whether this will show up decent, but sometimes the pictures don't really show the color, but the brick is not going to look just like a modern building. It's going to be an aged brick that's roughed up. It's got some texture and character to it in the brick, so that it shows more to the color and the feel of like the old Swords Pharmacy building, the Owen building, and all that. So you're not just putting up something that looks different, and then you got this type of stone that is going to be on the columns. So and the one thing on the picture that we don't have in this is this what's that called? Five-pon on the top is going to be a little different. It's going to have a little more character to it, like you see on the old bank building at 11th Street and 7th Avenue, where it's going to have some tooths to it, so it just has a little more character like the old buildings that they used to do, and not just kind of a plain look on the top of it.
Yes, Mr. Draper.
Yes, I would just like to say thank you, Mike, and congratulations.
Thank you. We still got a month or so to go. But
I know, but
until up to the finish line, I'm not willing to.
it's a handsome building. I think it fits the neighborhood well. It kind of splits up the modern from the old. To me, I think it's great.
Thank you, Paul.
Do you have anything?
I'd like to say something.
Just real quick, I like the stone
Yeah.
that you showed. In the picture, it looks a little more yellow, so I'm glad to see it looks a little more white. I like that a lot better.
You can't necessarily show the look. And there's lentils that are on the second floor are similar type, like, kind of look there that you'll have a little character of the building, look a little bit aged, so that it's going to be a new building, but we're trying to make it fit to the old look as much as we can.
Hopefully, there might be a way to work out with the streetscape to get your patio out there, because that would be a nice addition to the uptown to have a nice patio there.
The initial engineering drawings, we talked about it today. It's just at the subdivision meeting. It'd be ridiculous to put that patio in and then just rip it back out. So until we actually get that done and we have a final design on that, it's hard for me to commit to spending the money. It's not a huge amount of money, but it's still money.
What's the percentage likelihood that there will be a patio there?
It'd be 4 small tables, 2 and 3 tops.
Right, but I mean, is it 50-50 chance, or what's the chances that it'll be there?
It's just we have a very limited right-of-way in that situation, and so by the time we try and get that sidewalk away from the existing back of curb and stuff, there's just not room with ADA and everything else. That's the problem.
It's not going to happen.
I don't think so.
I mean, we just want a realistic.
Yeah, I'm being realistic.
answer,
I don't think
yeah.
it's going to.
Is there a way to do that on 7th Ave?
It's the same problem.
The
And
same
that's,
problem.
we moved it from 7th Avenue to, because you can actually get more, but it's the same problem. With the streetscape design, you have 42 inches for walkway minimum. Minimum table I can use is 24 inches wide, and then you got to have 5 feet on the outside of the fence.
Sure.
So you're right there, you're at 102 plus 24, 126 inches, and you've got 9 feet 4 inches of sidewalk, which is, you're just out of sidewalk.
Will the building be even with the other buildings? It'll be flush with the other buildings?
Yeah.
It'll be along the right-of-way.
Mike, I just want to, I've told you this in private as well, too. Congratulations to being to this point. Who would have thought 3 years ago, sitting back there in those chairs with you, that you would be here today? So it's a very exciting time. Obviously, we're trying to work through all the details, getting this thing through. I was just kind of trying to crunch the numbers on the original. What is your approximate ask going to be for the TIF? Do you know?
It changed at the subdivision meeting a little bit because there's things that we're going to have to do in moving some stuff, and some that came out, but 52,000 is what I believe was on the ask. It's going to be in that ballpark because what's going to shift in and out is going to be what's...
Nope, and I totally understand. I just wanted to kind of have a ballpark on that. So, again, welcome. Thank you for taking interest in continuing to stay in Marion, and thank you for taking this hole in the ground and doing something with it. So we're just so excited about knowing that this fence is going to come down and the issues that we deal with on the phone calls. Every day we have phone calls on what's going on. So congratulations.
Thanks.
I'll add that, anyone else? I'll add that it's refreshing and nice to see you up here being positive.
It's nice to be up here with something
not
positive.
berating us. I think it's a nice building. I think it's a good project. I did have and do have mixed feelings about it because we were hoping for a bigger project on this site. I've never been a person that follows the thinking of it's better than what was there. We just want to see the fence come down, or we want to see the hole in the ground go away. Ideally, you would like to see every project be a landmark project, but I know it's not realistic. And we did put out an RFP, or help the bank put out an RFP, and didn't get a proposal that could work financially. So, you did step forward and you've offered something that does work. I want to point out to the council and thank the council for adopting the standards that ensured this building would be at least 2 stories. And I think, working together with the city staff, we've come up with a workable solution. I do like the potential that in the future, if things develop more in the uptown, that, the building could be added onto and expanded. we like to see density in this area. So I think overall, I'm supportive of the project. It's not what I ideally would have imagined for that site, but we have to be pragmatic. Congratulations, and we look forward to seeing the project completed.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
We good?
Any other questions for Mike? Okay, thank you. All right, at this time is the section of the agenda which is open for public comments to the council on any items that are on the agenda but not part of a public hearing. So anything that is an agenda item that won't offer an opportunity for comment, which is public hearings, this is the time to come forward and address the council. Please state your name and address.
Janet Steffen, 360 West 8th Avenue in Marion. I'm here on behalf of Marion Janitorial Supply. I apologize if I keep taking these on or off. I had eye surgery, so it's a little difficult for me tonight. Good evening, along with my husband, Brett. We do own Marion Janitorial Supply, and most of you know my backstory, but I would like to fill in those who aren't able to have my backstory. The store has been in Marion and family-owned since 1954. In April, Abode Construction put road closed signs at the end of 17th Street, and that is the first that I found out that engineering had originally changed the original plans for the new 6th Avenue at 17th Street. The last plans I saw had a right in, right out onto 6th Avenue for us. We were never notified, as I've been told is required by law, that the city changed this to a dead end. No access at all to 6th Avenue for us. This does create an issue with getting my deliveries into my business, as we have multiple deliveries a week that come on 53-foot semis. Mr. Barkalow came to the store at my request to talk about the change. When I explained the problem, he suggested that we park our semis on 7th Avenue and unload there. He cited several uptown businesses do so, but the semis that he's referring to, they park in a turn lane, and the speed limit up there is 20 miles per hour. They're not parking in a very active lane of traffic where the speed limit is 35, but they're whizzing past my store at 40 to 45 miles an hour. When I told him that that wasn't safe, he stated that the next through street would be 22nd and suggested that I park my semis on 22nd and unload them there and bring my product back. That's 5 blocks. If it rains, if it snows, plus you've got the fact that it is illegal for me to put my forklift on the city streets, especially going 5 blocks. We met again with Mr. Barkalow on April 26th here at City Hall with the hopes that we could come up with a solution that would work for both of us. That was not the case. There were no offers of any other suggestions other than signing a hold harmless agreement that was on the city's website to use the city-owned lot between 16th and 17th Streets, but no other short-term or long-term options were discussed or offered. My concern is when 6th Avenue is done, I'm at a dead end. Then construction will start on 7th Avenue. When they get to in front of my store, I have no way to get my deliveries in or my deliveries out, much less customers in and out. We were told, my landlord, Gary Bolden, asked Mr. Barkalow if he could buy that empty lot. And we were told that if we could petition the council and if you didn't like what we wanted to do with it, that you would tell us no. We left the meeting feeling cornered, very discouraged, and honestly, we felt like we were just tossed aside. Since we didn't get anywhere with a resolution, we had no other choice but to hire an attorney. We've had several meetings with Mr. Trahern. He also told us to park our trucks on 7th Avenue. I told him that option again, it's not safe. So I again offered to buy the lot and he told us that he wouldn't be surprised if we were approached to be bought out, and that the city had other plans for that property. It was agreed with my attorney and Mr. Trahern to draft up an easement to cover that property so that we could get our trucks in and out safely. We did receive a copy of that easement finally this morning, and I'm hopeful that you'll agree to change the wording, giving my concerns some thoughtful consideration tonight. What I am asking for as a first step is the city to pay to gravel that easement, okay? So that the trucks bringing my supplies in can get through without any issues, especially after it rains. When we get any amount of rain, it turns into a muddy mess. It would be a one-time expense, and we've sent quotes to Mr. Trahern. I've already incurred attorney fees over twice the amount that I'm asking you to pay for the gravel. And honestly, we should have been able to reach this point without having an attorney involved. We also would incur costs to mow and maintain the city-owned lot, which I offered as a gesture of goodwill to try and make things, again, a compromise. Once this matter is resolved, we can concentrate on what our next steps for the long-term resolution need to be, since we've been informed that our business no longer fits the image the City of Marion wants where we are currently located. I did attend Tuesday night's work session, and wanted to clarify a few things that I heard that night. Mr. Trahern's presentation gave the impression that the lot is packed down only because the trucks are bringing supplies to me. I would like to point out that that used to be RJ Construction's lot, and that used to be their parking lot. They never gravelled it. It was just always packed down and muddy. The other thing I want to clarify is Mr. Trahern's suggestion that it's safe for the trucks to park on 7th Avenue. That is an opinion. I have talked with members of the police department, and they have agreed with me that it is in fact a safety concern. When I was stopping traffic for one of my semis to back out, I was almost hit. The traffic did not want to stop. And then I was proceeded, and I got yelled at and screamed at and swore at, because I was in the middle of the street trying to safely back a truck out. The truckers that bring deliveries into me have their own stories of the same type of behavior. Mr. Sternad, in your comments Tuesday night, you mentioned something that honestly surprised me. You made mention that, and I quote, "when the new owner comes in and redevelops the area," end quote. Do you guys already have a buyer for our land, the buildings that I'm renting? Because the way you worded that really surprised me. Several of you voiced a concern about setting a precedent in paying for this gravel. Honestly, this should be the exception, not the norm, unless you normally expect city staff not to notify businesses impacted by changes you are making and refusing to work reasonably with small business owners to come to a solution or resolution that works for both. Mr. Mayor, when you came out to meet us and were discussing the issue, you asked me, what would it have mattered if I were notified of the change? My response to you was that had we been notified, we could have been proactive in coming up with a solution instead of having to be reactive. I will stand by that because we were not notified and were getting unreasonable suggestions from city staff. I had no other choice but to get the attorney. Being notified in advance of the change would have indicated that the city still valued small businesses and wanted to work with them instead of working around them. Thank you for your consideration in changing the wording in that easement tonight.
Thank you.
I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Comments? Oh, yes, sir.
I'm not clear, is the wording you're asking to be changed in the current easement, or did the wording get changed in what we have that matches what you're desiring?
The easement is not having the city pay for the gravel. It is having me pay for the gravel.
Okay.
After I've incurred the attorney fees, I feel it's only fair, since we should have been here anyway without the attorney, that you guys meet me halfway.
Oh, so that's the wording you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I will be more than happy to still maintain and mow and take care of the lot. but I'm asking for your assistance in the gravel payment.
Yes, ma'am.
I have some questions, but they would actually be more for staff. Should I save
I think
it for that
you save
vote?
it for when the item is up for discussion. Yep. This is questions for her, so. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I had unfortunately saw some unloading a semi on 7th Avenue last week, and what a mess that is. And I went over and looked, and I think the gravel is a solution. I think I have a better solution for it even than that. I have what I affectionately called Tom's Lot, which is a city-owned lot on 9th Street between 6th and 7th Avenue. It's gravel. It's going to come out of there when they asphalt, and some of that gravel could surely be moved. They're going to have to put a drainage in there, Tom, to asphalt that, and I would think that would guarantee her usage for some gravel in the lot behind her, so she can continue to operate. You can. Tom's Lot just seems to fit. I'm sorry.
Paul, yeah, if you have questions for the presenter, please direct them to her, but we can have this discussion when the item comes up for discussion. Yes, sir.
First of all, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you presenting this evening, and we're certainly all thoroughly understanding, and we want to move in the right direction here. Just for clarification, though, I would like to know if you are not granted this rock, your intentions are to not sign the agreement and therefore not utilize that property at all? I'd like to make sure we have a very clear definition if we do or we don't, what your intentions will be going forward, because if you don't, I'm just trying to figure out how you're going to process through this, because you're right, you're in a situation, but we've been working on this for the last 5 to 6 years up there, and if I'm understanding you are a tenant, not the owner. Is that correct? Okay. So I want to make sure I was clear on that. Clarification on my point as far as the buyer of the lot, this is a separate lot, whatever that future holds for that, that's what I'm referring to, whether that's you for future development or any developer that's going to purchase that lot, they are still separate lots. But if you could just clarify for us, if we do not grant the gravel, what are your intentions? And if we do grant you the gravel, what are those intentions? Can you just clarify that for me, please?
Obviously, granting the gravel would be a huge bonus for me to be able to get my trucks through that without any issues for my trucking companies. I will need to use that easement. There is no turning it down. I won't turn it down because it is completely and utterly unsafe to back those semis out onto 7th Avenue. I almost got hit. If I'm not comfortable doing it, I refuse to put anybody else in my company in that same position. So I will use the easement.
Very good. Thank you. I appreciate your answers.
Other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else to address the council on any item that is on the agenda but not part of a public hearing? Okay. Seeing that no one is coming forward, we will move on to the consent agenda.
Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda as follows, and that would be items A1 through F2, which include resolutions 27812 through 27820.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda, including items A1 through F2, resolutions 27812 through 27820. Discussion? Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to just draw attention to that list for the open police chief for the Marion Police Department. We did have 10 applicants that are on that certified list. I would like to thank everybody who is applying for that, but especially the two that sit here with us from our own PD department. So Lieutenant Elam and Lieutenant Knott, we appreciate your continued interest in wanting to lead our city and our departments, and wish you both the best, but I just wanted to draw light to that particular item before we move that through the consent agenda. So thank you, and thank you to all of the applicants as well.
Mayor?
Other discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Rachel Bolander, our clerk, for following up and getting one of the hold harmless applications to be completed. I had brought that up to staff earlier in the week that we should either enforce our own application because there was one that was not super complete, or to just change the application. So Rachel went back and made sure that we got the answers we needed prior to this needing our approval this evening. So thank you for taking care of that.
Okay. Other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented, including items A1 through F2, resolutions 27812 through 27820, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved. The next section, I will turn over the gavel to Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, Your Honor. I move to approve resolution number 27821, approving partial payment number 5 for reimbursement to Morris Wood Enterprises, LLC, regarding the Tower Terrace Road Phase 6, Winslow Road to Lennon Lane project in the amount of $235,127.77.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27821, approving partial payment number 5 for reimbursement to Morris Wood Enterprise, LLC, regarding the Tower Terrace Road, Phase 6, Winslow Road to Lennon Lane, project in the amount of $235,127.77. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes, and we do have one abstention. Thank you. I'll relinquish the meeting back over to the mayor. Thank you.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 27822, approving fiscal year 2018-2019 transfer from general fund to health insurance fund in the amount of $231,326,041 for health insurance costs.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27822, approving fiscal year 2018-2019 transfer from general fund to health insurance fund in the amount of $231,326.41 for health insurance costs. Discussion. All those in favor of approving resolution number 27822, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 27823, approving fiscal year 2018-19 transfer from the general fund to employee benefits fund in the amount of $122,428.72 for employee benefit payouts.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Jensen and seconded by Councilmember Atkins to approve resolution number 27823, approving fiscal year 2018-2019 transfer from general fund to employee benefits fund in the amount of $122,428.72 for employee benefit payouts. Discussion? Yes, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm going to ask Lon to speak on this a little bit, but at a meeting we had earlier this week, I just asked for clarification of why we would transfer those monies, and his explanation was super reasonable about, not knowing exact rates, et cetera, but I think he can be a little more articulate than me if you wouldn't mind explaining why this transfer is happening, please.
Sure. With the way that the property tax system is set up in the state, we have very specific levies that can be utilized for things like the cost of employee benefits. Now, if that money is receipted into the general fund because it's based on estimated costs, like in the case of things like unemployment insurance, the city levies dollars, and then we collect those into the general fund. At the end of the year, if we haven't used them because we haven't had to pay out unemployment claims, we transfer those over into a dedicated employee benefit account. It helps us to segregate those funds so that we have an audit trail and can show that money coming in from a dedicated levy isn't being used for a purpose other than which it's intended.
Thank you.
Ed, other discussion or questions? All those in favor of approving resolution number 27823, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 27824, approving fiscal year 2019-2020 transfer from local option sales tax to the capital projects fund in the amount of $225,000 for the Prospect Meadows capital contribution.
Second.
Been moved by Councilmember Sternad, seconded by Councilmember Jensen. To approve resolution number 27824, approving fiscal year 2019-2020 transfer from the local option sales tax to the capital projects fund in the amount of $225,000 for the Prospect Meadows capital contribution. Discussion? Yes, sir.
Lon, does that now bring us whole then with this, or Leanne, whichever one wants to take it? Does that bring us whole now, and are we complete with that?
Yes, this would be the last for Prospect Meadows.
Okay,
You had
good.
approved at the prior meeting for the payment, and then this puts us straight with the revenue side.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I will probably be asking more of these in the future, just showing clarification that projects are now fully funded and we are done with some of these outgoing expenses. So thank you.
Or maybe that could be also clarified in our materials that we get to. Other questions? Discussion? All those in favor of approving resolution number 27824, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion is approved. At this time, we have a public hearing on a proposal to enter into a general obligation urban renewal loan agreement. The public hearing is now open. Will you give a presentation? Thank you.
Public hearing is regarding issuance of a general obligation bond for the YMCA capital contribution. The capital contribution will be $6.3 million. This bond is estimated to be a par value of $6.41 million with a maturity date of June 1st, 2037 and a sale date of August 8th.
Okay. Is there anyone here to address the council, whether in favor or in opposition to this measure? Please come forward at this time. This is the public hearing on the proposal to enter into the general obligation urban renewal loan agreement with regard to the contribution to the YMCA project. Anyone here to address the council either in favor or in opposition, please come forward. Okay. Seeing that no one is coming forward, we will close the public hearing.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 27825, taking additional action on proposal to enter into a general obligation urban renewal loan agreement, setting the date for the sale of the general obligation urban renewal bond series 2019D, and authorizing the use of preliminary official statement in connection therewith.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27825, taking additional action on a proposal to enter into a general obligation urban renewal loan agreement, setting the date for the sale of the general obligation urban renewal bonds, Series 2019D, and authorizing the use of a preliminary official statement in connection therewith. Discussion. Questions for staff? Anything? Okay. Seeing there is no questions or comments, we will proceed to vote. All those in favor of resolution number 27825, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. Motion has been approved.
Your Honor, I move to receive and file an application for tax increment financing, TIF assistance, from What Do You Want, Inc., doing business as Tommaso's Pizza.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive and file an application for tax increment financing assistance from What Do You Want, Inc., doing business as Tommaso's Pizza. Discussion? Okay? None? All those in favor of the motion to receive and file the TIF assistance application, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve motion directing staff to draft an MOU with What Do You Want Incorporated, doing business as Tommaso's Pizza, regarding tax increment financing incentives.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to direct staff to draft a memorandum of agreement, of a memorandum of understanding with What Do You Want, Inc., doing business as Tommaso's Pizza regarding the TIF financing incentives. Discussion. Okay, all those in favor of the motion to direct staff to draft the memorandum of understanding, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, say no. The motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve the following hold harmless agreement. This is for Uptown Get Down, Marion Square Park, August 1st, 8th, 15th, and 22nd, 2019, from 6 to 9 p.m. This is brought by the Marion Chamber of Commerce, 1225 6th Avenue, Suite 100, Marion, permit number 2019-74.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the following hold harmless agreement with Uptown Get Down in the Marion Square on August 1st, 8th, 15th, and 22nd, 2019, from 6 to 9 p.m. Discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion's approved.
Mayor, I move to direct staff to amend the purpose and mission of the Local Option Sales Tax Oversight Committee.
Second.
It has been moved by Councilmember Sternad, seconded by Councilmember Brandt, to direct staff to amend the purpose and mission of the Local Option Sales Tax Oversight Committee. Discussion, and will staff just explain briefly for the public what that means?
I'll field this one. The Local Option Sales Tax Committee was established by resolution, and the council held a discussion on Tuesday about the actual purpose of that committee with the advent of the council taking the reins of the capital improvement program and how that has changed the scope of it. So what we have to do is to amend the resolution consistent with the discussion from Tuesday, and then once that's done, that'll clarify the role and mission of that group. The original resolution gave them the authority to establish their own bylaws. So you have to start with the resolution, and then the bylaws have to be changed to be consistent with the direction from the council and the resolution. So what you'll see come back to you is either a resolution vacating the original one that kind of reboots it and starts over, or a resolution to amend the first one that created the Local Option Sales Tax Committee.
And can you just briefly describe the amendment?
Sure. The Local Option Sales Tax Committee, when they were originally created, the City Council wasn't actively engaged in doing capital improvements planning, and so the Local Option Sales Tax Committee had an active role initially with reviewing projects to make sure that they were consistent with the ballot language. Now that that has been moved back over and the Council has adopted a CIP, rather than having to look at things project by project or judge individual ones, you can actually look at a slate. And so the Council, we're looking at a 1 to 2 meeting schedule per year where they would have the opportunity to look at the slate of projects that the council has proposed in the CIP and determine whether the slate is consistent with the ballot language rather than meeting actively throughout the year.
So they're still looking at the projects and confirming they meet the ballot language, but just as a group and not as they come up individually.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Any discussion or questions on that?
I had a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I think there are only currently 2 members sitting on Lost at this
Correct.
time. Have we heard from them based on our discussion on Tuesday? I'm assuming they're aware that this is being discussed this week.
I actually called Dwight, the chairperson, on Wednesday morning after you had the discussion on Tuesday, and he was very happy that you have decided to keep the committee and very willing to work with me to update the resolutions and kind of refresh the committee.
Excellent. Thanks.
Okay. Other questions or discussion? All right. All those in favor of the resolution, of the motion to direct staff to amend the purpose and mission of the Local Option Sales Tax Oversight Committee, consistent with what we've discussed, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion is approved. Mr. Brandt.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 27826, amending urban renewal annual appropriation tax increment revenue bond series 2018.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27826, amending the urban renewal annual appropriation tax increment revenue bond series 2018. Discussion. Leanne, would you just give a synopsis again for because it's not very descriptive, so that the people who are listening can understand.
This revenue bond was used or is being used for the grant for the Marriott Hotel, the economic development grant that we had set up. And the bond has been set up as a line of credit, and the date that that line of credit was supposed to close was June 1st, and this resolution simply amends that date to September 30th.
Okay. Discussion. All those in favor of resolution number 27826, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 27827, approving a second amended economic development grant agreement with GLD Commercial Hotel.
Second.
I need to turn over the gavel here, so go ahead.
Did we get a second on that? It has been, okay. So resolution number 27827 has been, a motion has been made and a second has been made, but I'll follow through. So this is resolution number 27827, approving a second amended economic development grant agreement with GLD Commercial Hotel. Discussion. Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of resolution number 27827, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Thank you. One abstention. At this time, this takes us to the engineering department. This will be a public hearing regarding the 2019 Irish Drive Extension Project. Before I open this public hearing up, do we have a brief description?
Yes, Your Honor. Up on the screen, you can see the project. So this takes the existing Irish Drive at its terminus and brings it northeast to tie into Tower Terrace Road. We did receive 6 bids for this project. The low bid was from Abode Construction at $402,015, which was 77.4% of the engineer's estimate. There is a late start date of September 3rd of 2019. There's 55 working days and $500 per day in liquidated damages.
Thank you. At this time, I'll open up the public hearing. This gives the public the opportunity to come forward and speak to the council on this particular item. We would ask that you fill out a goldenrod slip of paper, as it's being so eloquently laid out for us. At this time, we're going to ask for those to speak in favor of this project, and we'll start with you, sir. So if you start with your name and address, and we'll let you take the floor.
I'm Caleb Cabot, and my address is 2735 24th Avenue, Marion here. I'm representing Abode Construction. The reason why I'm here tonight is I know there was concerns on Tuesday from council that was brought up with us receiving this low bid, And I wanted to address that a little bit, and I know there's other questions because of other projects that we have in town. So I'll allow you guys to ask me questions, and I can respond accordingly to that.
Okay. Before we deflect those questions back to you, is there anything else you'd like to speak or say about this project as a project itself?
Yeah, so I'm in charge of our scheduling with our projects and everything like that, and we felt with this Irish Drive extension, we're at a location right now that's close to it, that we could come and hit this hard, and that it roll right into our schedule along with our other projects, and it fits right in. And honestly, we are projected to hit this way before our allotted dates, working days, and I've already started the submittal process and everything like that. Haven't heard back from them because we were waiting on tonight, and honestly, we'll probably finish within, the 30 days. Talking with all of our subcontractors and everything, we've kind of both fits right into our schedule, and that's how we kind of picked everyone with that.
Okay, thank you. At this time, are there any questions from council for Caleb during this public hearing? Mr. Jensen.
Yeah, I was probably at least one of them that was vocal about this particular item on Tuesday, specifically more about the impact on the 6th Avenue project. Again, I feel that that needs to be a very high priority for the entire city to get 6th Avenue completed as soon as possible. I mean, the entire city is waiting for the two roundabouts to get connected, for traffic flow to get changed, as we've been talking about for several years. So my question then, will this project impact at all the schedule of 6th Avenue?
No, and I absolutely agree with you. We want 6th Ave to get done as well. I mean, obviously last year was what it was with the weather, and we take full responsibility for our subcontractors that weren't available to show up, and we weren't the only ones, but we take responsibility for them. As far as this year and looking forward, we've had the wettest 12 months to date, and going off the schedule that I gave the city and it was approved, we are 10 days ahead of schedule on opening up, and we are opening up 13th to 15th tomorrow afternoon. They'll install the signs tomorrow morning. Striping was done this week. We cleaned up. Barricades will be moved tomorrow afternoon, and you guys will be able to use that portion. Just like our schedule says, we are very confident in our August 30th open date for the whole to connect 13th to 19th, and we are still on track, even with the wettest spring we've seen in a long time here. So it's been a challenge, but yet we've still been working through it and been dedicated to that project because us too, we want to get out of there and focus on other things as well.
Okay, and I think we all look forward to the next phase of that and the final phase to get that completed. So
yes, we are just waiting on that.
Okay.
Any other questions for Caleb from the council?
I just have a
Ms.
comment.
Cordelia, yes.
Thanks for being here and listening to Tuesday and addressing this.
No problem. It's my pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Okay, I'll finish up with that as well too. I'm just going to echo some of the things that are set up here. Obviously, as a city, we have to look at some of these issues that take us forward, and some, drastic questions do come up. And hey, thanks for taking the heat up here. Your counterpart sits back there in the back row, so. Thank you, Caleb. I appreciate it.
No
He's the scheduler, though. He should take the heat.
On me.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. At this time, we still have an open public forum here for those that would like to speak in favor of this project. We'll pause for a brief moment here to see if there's anyone else to speak in favor of it. And seeing none, that moves us right into those that are opposed it or would like any additional information or have questions about this project. Please come forward. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. We'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Thank you.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 27828, accepting bids and awarding contract to Abode Construction LLC regarding the 2019 Irish Drive Extension project in the amount of $402,15,000.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27828, accepting bids and awarding contract to Abode Construction LLC regarding the 2019 Irish Drive Extension project in the amount of $402,015. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor of resolution number 27828 say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes with one abstention. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve resolution number 27829, approving contract and bond with Abode Construction LLC regarding the 2019 Irish Drive Extension Project.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27829, approving contract and bond with Abode Construction LLC regarding the 2019 Irish Drive Extension Project. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor of resolution number 27829 say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes with one abstention. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve project calendar regarding the 2019 runway 1735 reconstruction at the Marion Municipal Airport project. As follows would be A through D, which include resolutions 27830 through 27832.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the project calendar regarding the 2019 runway 1735 reconstruction at the Marion Municipal Airport project. This will be resolutions 27830 through 27832. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor of resolutions number 27830 through 27832 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes. Thank you. At this time, I will relinquish the meeting back over to the mayor.
Thank you. Next item is a public hearing regarding the 2019 sanitary sewer slip lining project. Public hearing is now open. Mr. City Engineer, maybe we have a synopsis of what's going on?
Yep, so this is our annual sanitary sewer slip lining where we actually take the old clay line, we put a liner in it that's steam treated to seal it so we don't get that groundwater infiltrating into the sewer. This is particularly important as we go to a flow-based treatment agreement so we're not cleaning that clean water and diluting the existing sanitary sewer. There's 8 locations that are proposed up on the screen there. We did receive 5 bids. The low bid came in from SAK Construction at $157,657.25, which is 81.7% of the engineer's estimate. It has a completion date of October 25th of 19 with $300 in liquidated damages per day after the October 25th date. Because this came in under estimate, we will likely do a change order in the future to add additional locations with the good prices that we got.
Okay. We'll be able to accomplish more
Yes.
than we expected.
Yep.
Good. It's always a good thing. Anyone here to address the council, either in favor or in opposition to this measure? Please come forward. Okay. Have we received any comments outside the meeting?
We have not.
Public hearing is now closed. Next item, Ms. Goodell.
Yes, Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 27833, accepting bids and awarding contract to SAK Construction LLC regarding the 2019 sanitary sewer slip lining project in the amount of $157,657.25.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27833, accepting bids and awarding contract to SAK Construction LLC for the 2019 sanitary sewer slip lining project in the amount of $157,657.25. Discussion. Mike, so if we do amend or add additional work, then they'll come back and get approval for spending the additional money?
Yep, that'll be brought back to council.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Your comment about how this relates to the flow-based agreement that we're going to be going to made me really, because I think we're typically investing a similar amount on an annual basis for slip lining. So do we have a backlog of other streets that would benefit from slip lining, or are we kind of keeping ahead? So again, as I think to that flow-based, I mean, I know what the slip lining does and the benefit of it. So should we be spending more money in this area because of that new agreement, or are we just keeping ahead?
Yeah, I mean, we could spend a lot. Basically, we have $300,000 we spend each year, and we split that between old manholes that are typically
Right.
brick manholes that have a lot of infiltration and the slip lining project. So we work with Public Service to identify those areas. We recently were performing the study to determine some of those areas as well. In some of those areas, Public Service just knows by jetting the line where they have issues. So they used to have about 5 locations that when we got heavy rains, they actually had to pump the sewer down the street so that it didn't back up into people's houses.
Okay.
With this wet fall and spring, that was limited to only a couple locations. So we're making progress. We can always spend more money, but we can only do so much per year. There's needs everywhere. Those old clay tiles are anywhere from 2 to 3 feet, and then there's a joint. And so the more sealing we can do on that, the better. There's other things that we can do as well with the lines from the houses that actually come in and tie into the sewer. Those can be areas where that water intrudes as well. So there's always continuing education to be done. Even small things like putting drain tile in, you get those sumps so they stop going into the sanitary or into the street causing ice issues and into the storm sewer. All that helps. So it's just not just one project that helps, it's several projects.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Yes, Mr. Brandt.
What's the life expectancy of doing a slip line versus digging up, putting new line in? Obviously, the cost is a lot less.
It costs a lot less, yes. If we were to open cut a street, so like if it's a reconstruction project, we'll look at it and determine what the line looks like. If it's a good candidate for slip lining versus if we were just replace the line while we have the street tore up. Sometimes we do have to go in and do what's called a point repair. The joints might be offset so much that we can't just push that liner through it. But
Does the liner extend the life? How long does the liner extend the life of the sewer line? I think that's what
I would say
he's
another
getting at.
50 years.
50 years?
Oh, wow. Wow.
That's significant, yeah.
Yeah.
Bargain.
It's way more than I
Less
thought it was going to be.
disruptive, and it's less expensive.
Yeah, there's really no interruption other than the temporary. So when they're going from manhole to manhole, those people are asked not to use their service
Yeah.
because it will back up. So
Yeah, they did that on my street 2 or 3 years ago, and we just had one morning where we weren't allowed to put anything down the drain, basically. The only issue was the smell, but it was gone later in the day.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's pretty slick. It was nice, quick, and easy.
Much cheaper.
Yeah.
Did you have something there? Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor of resolution number 27833, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no.
No.
Was that a no? Oh. A no? Oh, okay. Okay, the motion is approved.
Your Honor, I move to receive and file and discuss the final traffic report, 7th Avenue and 35th Street intersection improvements.
Second.
It has been moved by Councilmember Atkins, seconded by Councilmember Jensen, to receive and file and discuss the final traffic report for the 7th Avenue, 35th Street intersection improvements. Discussion. We had quite a lengthy discussion on Tuesday about this, but if there's anything else, this is the time to discuss or bring it up. Okay?
I'll throw something out there.
Okay, so is it for the next item, or is it for the receive and file?
Oh, I guess I can talk next.
Okay, all those in favor of receiving and filing and discussing the final traffic report for 7th Avenue, 35th Street intersection improvements, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to direct staff to proceed with alternative B for the 7th Avenue and 35th Street intersection improvements project.
Second.
It has been moved by Councilmember Jensen, seconded by Councilmember Atkins. She keeps beating you out, Renee, sorry.
That's okay.
To direct staff to proceed with alternative B for the 7th Avenue and 35th Street intersection improvements project. Discussion. Mr. Brandt?
So I went over there and sat and watched that for a little while, and I don't know if that's really gonna I'm just worried that we're going to put money into that, what we're doing there, and I don't know if it's going to fix the issue. Because I still think there might be, with 10th going into it, there's still going to be issues there. Because I was there and there was a lot of traffic. Must have been, I don't even remember what time of the day it was, but, but there was just a lot of traffic coming off of 10th onto 35th, and it was backed up on 10th. It was backed up several cars. So I'm just curious if you think this scenario is going to solve that problem.
Well, they're only going to be able to turn right if they're going eastbound, so they're going to have to learn over time.
Because I think there's still going to be stacking there because there's so little distance between the stoplight and 10th. I don't know, when I sat there and watched it, it made me think, well, maybe we should just close 10th from Linden over. It would eliminate any of that. But I think it goes back to what we were talking about Tuesday. I don't know if there really is a 100% great answer to the whole intersection.
Not an affordable one.
Okay. Yes, sir, Mr.
I will just go again too. I understand everybody's thoughts here, and I appreciate all those. This is one where if we don't get this right, there's a lot of money being spent in this, and I don't know. I hope we're not making too quick. I know why we're doing this, and I know we need to do it, but tearing things out and putting things in and doing it again later will just be a proof that we didn't get this one just right. But I understand our lights are failing and we need to get things fixed on that intersection. So I'm pausing here for a moment to just give everybody a chance to rethink this. If it would be entertained to maybe have some more reconsideration. Are we doing the right thing here? But I have the same thoughts. I mean, I'm the same way. I'm thinking 10th ought to be just taken out completely because the choking that creates going eastbound only to turn, you can only turn right. That's your only option. So all those cars, if they're not going to turn there, they're going to turn on the extension of Linden. Now we're going to back that up through that driveway toward the Jimmy John's area. You're backing up traffic trying to get to the retailer. I'll call it the old Family Video. I just see that congestion being a major deal. So I guess that's my 2 cents. I'll leave it at that because I think we're all on the same page here. But
yeah, but if you take on Linden, that's a right turn only as well.
Right.
So on the new extension where Linden connects to 7th Avenue, that's right turn only.
Yep.
And again, the majority of this cost is in the new traffic lights.
Correct.
A lot of the rest of it is adding some concrete for center meridians on 7th Avenue, on 35th, and a couple stop signs. And beyond that, it's extending Linden by adding that 40 feet. So
the lights are being changed out anyway.
Yeah, we need new lights anyway. So that's the majority. I'm assuming that's about 80 to 90% of this, 90% of the cost of this project. Is that correct?
Yep. There was a detailed cost breakdown in the traffic study, but yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, that we're going to need regardless.
Right. And
so I'm okay with this plan.
Wasn't there some discussion that you could go with this plan and then if you find that there are these issues that you could still close that section of 10th?
Yeah, I mean, we can build per Exhibit B, and if that's not working, we can take that section of 10th Avenue out. I mean, there's modifications we can do.
It's just kind of a screwed up area because,
There's no
I'm just trying to, everybody who's coming down 35th going south, now all of a sudden they're going to have the option of turning right on 10th and turning back left onto 151 to bypass the light. I'm being the devil's advocate here. That'll hold 2 cars. That little extension is 2 cars, guys. That's it. No more, no less. So now what happens is you got cars stacking up on the westbound side of 10th. You got cars coming in from the eastbound side. They're wanting to make a right because if they can't make the right there, they for sure can't make the right on 35th. So those, I'm just, hey, you know what? Let's build it. Let's see what happens. But we've seen that in some of these projects where we kind of maybe overshot that one a little bit. But if the majority wants to go with it, let's go with it. I just don't like the fact of putting it in, saying we can tear it out, because that was...
That wouldn't be putting something in that we're tearing
Well, the
out.
comment was made Tuesday that we could take Linden Extension back out.
Oh.
So that was made. So I'm being careful here, because the proposal is shutting off that other entrance into the Jimmy John's parking lot there. I mean, we're impeding on other businesses and traffic flows and everything else with this one sweep. So
I thought we left it Tuesday, we were going to leave that entrance for Jimmy John's open.
Yes.
Subject to how the traffic flow goes.
could have
later
been,
on.
but that's not here in what's being presented.
Right.
So, I mean, if we're amending that, then let's make sure we're clear on that. But, yeah, I agree.
That's true. We did not, that was the discussion, I thought.
Right.
Yeah, I left it so it's per the original recommendation, and if we want to modify it, we can.
Yeah, well, that's what we discussed. So what is the aspect of it, Randy, you don't like about Linden and 10th?
I just don't like with that little bit of a stub of a road, and the traffic volume in there is what's got me concerned. Because, like Will was saying, the way we're proposing it is we're giving people an avenue to get out, but we're going to be barricading off left-hand turns off of 35th. So now we're restricting that flow coming from the south. So if people, I know what's going to happen. Habits are going to be formed here. So when two cars are sitting there waiting for that light to turn, and they know that this entrance is over here on Linden Drive, they're going to come across and over. Now, when there's two cars in that little stub of a road, where does all the traffic go that's eastbound on 10th and westbound on 10th that want to execute that turn back onto 151?
Yeah, but coming off of 7th Avenue onto going north on Linden, that traffic doesn't stop.
Correct.
It flows right through.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm
With
off
the
of that
clarification,
topic.
Mike sent
Yeah,
us.
I'm off of that topic of stacking on 7th Avenue.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm talking about, because think of all the retail coming out of Fairway. Think of all the retail coming out of, I don't know. I don't want to beat a dead horse here. I think it's just one of those things we're going to have to just build it and see what happens. So, I mean.
And that's, I think, after we discuss it more, I think that is probably what we need to do is build it and see what happens. And because I think if you do close 10th from Linden over to 35th, you'd need the Linden extension to 7th anyway. So,
Mike, are all these, these concerns, which, are valid concerns, are all these things that you considered when you were going through all these options, when these 4 options were being designed?
So this intersection's been studied several times. You can't project everything that's going to happen. People are going to change their behaviors. The biggest issue you're going to have is just the change in pattern from those people that are used to taking 10th Avenue to 35th to go to Hy-Vee. That's going to be the biggest change, and people are just used to going that route or going northbound and turning left onto 10th. That's going to be the bigger issue, I think. Sure, there might be people that take a shortcut through there, but I don't know if they're actually going to stack there or not.
So is the idea to get those people to come down to 7th and then turn left at the light instead? Is that?
Yeah, you
don't want them
would
going through
hope
the
that they
parking
would
lot
stay
of
on 35th and turn onto 7th and not try and shortcut the light. But yeah, there might be people that decide to do that.
The Randys of the world.
Okay, Mr. Grant.
is the turn lane when you're going east on 7th and you're turning north onto 35th, is that going to get extended? Because I know that can back up.
Yeah, that's being extended as part of this. And it's a raised island. That way, those that are going south on Linden can't cross that, so they have to turn right out of there.
Right.
Got to be better
Right.
So
the extension is
again,
happening
it's hard to see on this, but it's getting pushed clear back to here. So this raised median goes clear back to the start of this driveway.
That's good, because they're going to have more traffic turning there if they can't. So, yeah, there'll be more stacking there.
Okay.
Again, I think one more comment for the public is this is not Mike's design. This is Snyder and Associates design.
Yeah, we paid an engineer
We
to do
paid
this.
a firm, a professional firm, to come up with the 4 recommendations. This is their preferred and top recommendation. So, again, I'm not a designer of roads and streets, but they've done all the studies, and I will, again, I drive that all the time, so I do agree with their recommendation and support it.
And that would be my comment too. I mean, this is a very difficult area, however you look at it, and the one solution that would best solve everything is the one that's prohibitively expensive. So
Massive.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. Can you?
But, at the end of the day, again, I'm not an engineer, and I'm not a road engineer or traffic expert, and at some point we have to rely on our experts, our city engineer and Snyder, who did the studies and who do this stuff every day, and rely on their expertise. So that's my personal position on it. Yes, Mr.
I have
Draper?
a question. Is that a city street behind the auto parts store?
No,
And that's an alleyway? Is it?
it's a private.
It's just their parking lot.
Yeah, it's just a private
Oh,
driveway.
there's a street that goes through there, though.
People use it as a street, but it's private property.
Yeah, you're correct.
Okay. Any further discussion on this?
If we want to amend it, right, to take out the closure of the Jimmy John's parking lot, we need to do that here?
Yeah, we want to modify it to say alternative B with whatever modifications you guys want.
Okay, so now we have the motion on the floor, and
Hold on, sorry. Do you need to amend, because weren't we talking about extending the turn lane onto Linden off of 7th?
Yeah, I will.
Further, so I need to do the 2 amendments to it, right?
I'm sorry, what was the second one?
The Jimmy John's parking lot.
What
not being
was the
closed.
first one?
The extension of the
Oh,
turn
the-
lane on,
From 7th to Linden.
yes.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to amend Resolution 27834.
No,
Nope,
it's just the alternative B.
round number
It'd
8.
be a motion to amend alternative B, Councilman Stronach.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you for the clarification. I was off on the directing of staff. Whew, I'm so excited about directing people here. So this will be to amend the motion directing staff to proceed with alternative B, making the amendment to extend the turning lane on the westbound side of Highway 151 onto Linden Drive, and to also not close the parking lot to the current existing strip mall to include Jimmy John's and U.S. Cellular.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to amend alternative B for the 7th Avenue 35th Street intersection improvements project to include an extension of the right turn lane from 7th Avenue to Linden Drive, and to remove the closure of the parking lot entrance to the Jimmy John's site. Discussion on the motion to amend. Mike, is this acceptable to you, or do you have any concerns about that?
No, the turn lane can be extended. They stopped it at an existing intake. That intake can be modified so it's a drive-over intake. Not closing the entrance is fine, and we can see how traffic operates, and if they complain that too many people are cutting through the parking lot, that's something we can close later.
Mm-hmm.
So those are both fine.
Any other discussion on the amendment? Okay. All those in favor of amending alternative B as stated, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Okay, the motion is now amended. So the motion now reads to direct staff to proceed with alternative B as amended. Discussion, any further discussion on the amended motion? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about this. Did we notice any of the businesses that this is taking place? Do we have any?
We have not
comments?
notified anyone.
We don't need to.
Well, eventually when we put the plans together, yeah, we will
That's when it
notify
comes
them.
up, but not for this purpose. This is
No, so further down, we're going to hire an engineer to do this design when we get the plans done. So we got a long process to go yet.
Thank
And
you.
they will have time for input?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion on the amended motion? All those in favor of directing staff to proceed with alternative B for the 7th Avenue and 35th Street intersection improvement project, amended to also include the extension of the right turn lane from 7th Avenue to Linden Drive, and the removal of the planned closure of the entrance to the Jimmy John's parking lot, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is now approved as amended. Mr. Sternad?
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 27834, authorizing the submittal of application for Traffic Safety Improvement Program, TSIP, funding for the intersection of 7th Avenue, 35th Street intersection improvement to upgrade the current traffic signal and to add turn lanes and extend Linden Drive.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27834, authorizing submittal of an application for Traffic Safety Improvements Program funding for the intersection of 7th and 35th intersection improvements to upgrade the current traffic signal and to add turn lanes and extend Linden Drive. Discussion. What's the likelihood we'll get funds?
So it depends on how many people apply. It will likely score low because, as was presented from Schneider Associates, this is, even though it's a not perfect intersection, there are low rates of accidents. And so it would score low, but if there's not very many people that apply, it's money that we can get that doesn't have too many strings attached to it.
Actually surprising there aren't more accidents. I see a lot of near misses. But
Those don't count.
okay, any further discussion on resolution 27834? All those in favor of approving resolution 27834, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion's approved.
Mayor, I move to direct staff to solicit engineering services for the 7th Avenue and 35th Street intersection improvements.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to direct staff to solicit engineering services for the 7th Avenue and 35th Street intersection improvements. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion to direct staff to solicit engineering services, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion's approved. Ms. Gadela?
Your Honor, I move to receive, file, discuss, and refer to TAC a petition regarding additional streetlights along Bent Creek Drive. This is from Connie Suma at 625 Bent Creek Drive.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive, file, and discuss and refer to TAC a petition regarding additional streetlights along Bent Creek Drive. Discussion? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Have you since Tuesday looked to see if those are at the 600? Is that
No,
something
I
to
have-
do if it gets?
Just on GIS, I looked at it, and they're about 600-foot spacings, but we're not going to spend staff time on it until you guys direct us to.
Well, that just makes me wonder if we should even send it to TAC, because it's at current. It's built just like every other street any other new street in town with a 600-foot street light. So if we put more in, we're going off of our norm.
Would TAC refuse it then?
Well, they're gonna spend time on it, check it out, and then come back and say, more than likely they're gonna say it meets what we do and we recommend no changes. I'm assuming that's probably what's gonna happen.
Yeah, but I think we're following our procedure. If they have the required number of signatures, I think it's incumbent upon us to at least give them the TAC time.
Yeah.
TAC time.
Other discussion? Anyone else feel the same way?
Just because they got the petition doesn't mean that, in my mind, that it should have to go to TAC every time.
I understand.
But
Okay, other discussion? All those in favor of the motion to receive, file, discuss, and refer to TAC, the Traffic Advisory Committee, a petition regarding additional streetlights along Bent Creek Drive, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
We have 2 noes. The motion is approved.
Your Honor, I may move to receive, file, and discuss the 2019 Uptown Street Sign Removal and Pavement Marking Plan.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to receive, file, and discuss 2019 Uptown Street Sign Removal and Pavement Marking Plan. Okay. Discussion on the motion to receive, file, and discuss. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 19-22 relating to the removal of signs and signposts in Uptown Marion. This is the initial consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 19-22 relating to the removal of signs and signposts in Uptown Marion. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor of ordinance number 19-22, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved. This time we have a public hearing regarding disposition of city-owned property at 1080 Blair's Ferry Road, Marion, Iowa. This is a sale or proposed sale of a parcel remnant from right-of-way to Timberline Manufacturing. The public hearing is now open. You want to describe it briefly, Tom?
Hopefully.
One second here. The property that is under consideration then is 1080 Blair's Ferry Road. It's associated with the Timberline project. Timberline, as you can see in the aerial here, was under construction at the time, but if you drive west on on Blair's Ferry Road, west of Marion Boulevard, you can see the new Timberline facilities under construction. As a part of that project, they had bought a large tract of ground in which the city owned a small parcel that we found necessary to acquire as part of the Blair's Ferry widening project. And so that area is highlighted in red on the overhead screen here, you can see. In the conversations with Timberline, and they had desired to have this property as a part of their redevelopment of that project. There is an outlot on this site, will be probably developed as a commercial site, so it will in the future bring hopefully a commercial tenant in that area. The city has conducted an appraisal on the property and the $18,000, and the Timberline has agreed to pay the appraised value, and we'd like to proceed with that sale. I would point out, and it's hard to see in this, but you'll see a final plat come through of the Timberline project, in which a portion of the property that we're actually selling will then be dedicated as a part of the final plat back to the city for Blair's Ferry Road. It's all locked up in the way that the property would be issued their occupancy permit, so there's no concern about not getting what we need as a part of the right-of-way acquisition. So you'll see that in a final plat before they get occupancy of the facility. And I know that if you look at the agreement, it was signed by them some time ago. Well, the agreement indicates that it was signed some time ago. We've just recently got that inked, and so we're just bringing it forward with the council to the council at this point.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak in favor or opposition to this measure? Please come forward. This is the chance for public input on this matter. If anyone would like to address the council either in favor or opposition, please come forward. Okay, and I'll ask staff, has there been any comments submitted outside this meeting from the public?
No, there has not.
Okay. Seeing that no one's coming forward, we'll close the public hearing. Mr. Nad?
Yes, Your Honor. I move to approve resolution number 27835, approving the disposition of city-owned property at 1080 Blair's Ferry Road, Marion, Iowa.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27835, approving the disposition of city-owned property at 1080 Blair's Ferry Road, Marion. I will ask, I think I know the answer, but just confirm, we do reserve any utility easements or anything like that that are needed in that area, or when we deed it, we reserve any easements that are needed for public utilities?
So when we'll deed the property, and all of that will be a part of the final plat.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's right. It's
And
being platted, so it'll be shown on the plat.
Correct. And the reason that we're proceeding in this manner, just so everybody's aware, is that if we wanted to just sell the property and retain the right-of-way, we would have to go through another subdivision action or an acquisition plat, which is just amounting to additional costs to the city, contracts, hiring a surveyor and such. With the way that it's being proposed, and we understand, we know they're going to be opening their facility soon. They need that final plat, and at that time it just becomes an outlot on the final plat and is dedicated as part of the process, and there's no additional fees or work that's necessary to be done on behalf of the city. So.
All right. Other discussion or questions? And this is when we need a roll call vote?
Yes.
Okay. So we need a roll call vote if there's no further discussion. Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Draper?
Yes.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Mr. Jensen?
Yes.
Mayor Abu-Osley?
Yes.
Mr. Sterned?
Yes.
Mr. Brandt?
Yes.
Ms. Gedalia?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion approved.
Motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 19-21, the rezoning of property from O1 office transitional to MR2 high-density multifamily residential located at 1330 East Post Road, Marion, Iowa. 1 Research Center, second consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the second consideration of ordinance number 19-21, rezoning the property at 1330 East Post Road from O1 office transitional to MR2 high-density multifamily residential. Discussion. All those in favor of resolution number 278, or ordinance number 19-21, all those in favor of ordinance number 19-21, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 27836, approving public access easement across city-owned property located at 637 16th Street. This is Marion Janitorial Supply Company at 1685 7th Avenue.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27836, approving public access easement across city-owned property located at 637 16th Street. Discussion? Yes, Mr. Jensen.
I understand what the request is here for the public easement. I think that's certainly the minimum amount that we should be considering. But then, upon hearing that there was discussion about them or Mr. Bolden wanting to purchase this lot, which would also solve their problem, is there a reason that we feel it's not in the city's best interest to consider selling this property to them?
So it's clearly at the council's discretion on that. I would, and as I said in the field, is that the concept is that the overall long-term goal of the corridor is for that redevelopment of the properties to accommodate commercial businesses. Clearly, if they wanted to buy it and they brought forward that would be considered by the council. But under the conversation, it was about basically putting an access road across it to provide for that access. Highest and best use of that is a much more dense development, commercial, building pad, that could be a building pad in amongst itself. So that's the conversation that was had.
You know, and I understand that concept. I'm not sure I totally agree with saying that land should not be for sale. It is, I believe it is not our intent to run out any existing businesses. And the fact that that may happen in the future, and that may be one of the long-term goals, and eventually maybe that area, that block, because you have two buildings, you got two separate owners there. So if one doesn't want to do anything with that block, nothing's going to happen at all. So you got three pieces of property, and it's either all going to go or none of it's going to go. So I don't see a lot of interest, a benefit to the city owning that parcel because of that, and in the fact, if they want to stay there long-term, they're certainly going to do that, and we'll support that. So the city's not going to run anybody out that's an existing business. So, I mean, from my perspective, I would certainly entertain an open discussion, which we can do so after what we're doing tonight, entertain an open discussion for the city to do that. So I don't know how anybody else feels, but that would be my 10 cents worth.
Do you think that it's feasible that that lot would get developed independently from the rest of the?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, it's a developable piece of ground by all means. Yes.
It's big enough that it would be a feasible project.
Yep.
Other discussion?
Same way. I think we should solve.
Other discussion?
Yeah, I had a couple questions
Yes.
Based on Janet's talk earlier at the public hearing. So I just wanted some clarification on three things. One was the notifying. Is it that we failed to notify her, or is it just that part of our process at this point in time doesn't require us to? Did our system fail, or do we not need to notify for what she's saying that they didn't hear from us on?
So I know we had a lot of public input in the beginning for the Central Corridor project. Technically, that street never did go all the way to 6th Avenue. It was private property, and so they would just cut through that. It was technically a dead-end street, but people didn't use it as a dead-end street. A lot of that was just gravel, so it was jurisdictional area, basically.
It wasn't an improved street.
The street did end, and you can kind of see on that picture where the concrete would end, and then it just turned to gravel. And so people would just cut through that gravel. So it wasn't a dedicated street.
At
People
one
just
point, that was a
used it as
railroad
cut
there.
through. Yeah. So they still have the access of what they had before. It's just they were illegally driving through other people's property before, and they just want to be able to continue to do that.
Right. And so, but I want to make sure we didn't fall down on something we're responsible to do. We didn't have to notify. Is that correct?
Not that I'm aware of. If we were to actually completely cut their access off of from 7th Avenue, then yes, we have to buy that access, right?
Okay. The second question is on trading. Janet mentioned that they would take care of mowing, and I don't know if there's snow removal required. Do we currently do that as a city? I know Mr. Miller is not here, but is this something that would benefit the city to make that kind of arrangement, or do we not mow anything there currently? Can anybody speak to that?
If I could, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Historically, we haven't maintained that property in that area. I would imagine in the future, as 6th Avenue corridor develops, we will need to address the maintenance issue there. I did do some quick numbers on what cost of mowing, a lot that size. We're probably going to look at an hour. Annually, we'd probably be somewhere about, with our rates that we've developed, probably around $450 a year with equipment labor annually to just the mowing piece of that is kind of what I calculated
So
up.
in 2 years, it would roughly equal the $1,000 of gravel.
The whole thing,
What's that?
the whole lot?
For the mowing?
Yeah, are you talking the whole lot or just the little section above?
No,
the
just
easement?
basically the city property and the lot. You figure in the travel time, the unloading time, all those things factor in. So basically about an hour.
Okay, thanks. Thank you for
I think that
being proactive on that.
offer of the Steffens was not the entire.
Right.
It was just between where the easement would be and the building, I believe. Is that correct?
No, I believe they were indicating they would take care of it all. The way the easement agreement is written is that they would take care of it just between the
Okay.
easement area.
'Cause I read that
so
in
that
the
we wouldn't be
agreement.
driving over it and getting in that area. That's the way it's written.
They'd be willing to take care of the whole thing.
That's as I understand.
Once it's enough.
That's what they had indicated.
May
yes,
I ask
go
for
ahead.
clarification before I get to number 3? May I ask Janet, and I'm sorry, I don't know your last name, I don't have
Steffens?
it. Steffens. Would you come to the mic, please? I think.
Thank you.
Yes,
Go ahead.
state her name and address.
Go ahead and state your name and address again, sorry.
Janet Steffen, 360 West 8th Avenue in Marion.
Thank you. Can you just clarify your intention on your offer to mow, like what area you're talking about specifically and for how long?
The talks that we had were is if we were granted the easement and it was gravelled, we would take care of the entire lot.
Okay.
As long as you're there.
That was our offer.
As long as you're there. Okay. Okay. I think that's it. I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page. And then,
But even if the easement is only for 2 years?
Your Honor,
Yes.
the easement is actually only until 6th Avenue is reopened. The 2 years is the maximum time. So it's in effect only until the construction of 6th Avenue is completed through there and reopened for public use, which I believe we just heard is going to be in the relatively near future, I think next month. Is that correct?
I would add that the intent of that, and if it needs clarified, that would be that it goes all the way through because it's a traffic when it's opened all the way to the roundabout. That's why there's a 2-year.
Okay.
Because we anticipate the full 6th Avenue. The concept behind it is that we would be able to reevaluate the traffic on 7th for loading and unloading as 6th Avenue opens and a majority of that traffic shifts to 6th. We just don't know. So that's the concept behind it. The reopening of 6th Avenue is complete roundabout to roundabout. And that's the conversation that we had in the field as well. So, yep.
If I may.
Okay, if you have something to add, go ahead.
The other thought to think about is, when they get 6th Avenue done, yes, traffic should be less on 7th, but then they are going to start redoing 7th as well. And I will be, in effect, shut off from my supplies and deliveries and being able to get my supplies out. So we do have more than just this today. This is our first step, and I am asking again for the gravel costs.
thank you for coming back up and clarifying
Absolutely.
that. And then my third question was on ensuring safety. Mrs. Steffen stated that, I don't know if it was formal or informally, that Marion police officers agreed that it was unsafe. So I would just turn to Acting Chief and ask for his opinion, given the situation.
Yeah, my opinion would be the same. I'm not comfortable, and again, from a public safety standpoint, I'm not comfortable with parking anything on 7th Avenue. The sheer volume of traffic, obviously 7th Avenue already holds a lion's share of our traffic accidents. Add on to that they're bringing a forklift, people onto 7th Avenue. When traffic is heavy, it's also going to cause people, it may cause people to get over. So we could either have a rear end accident or a sideswipe accident. I just don't think I can't support that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all I have. Just wanted some clarification on those before the vote.
So how are you leaning?
I'm leaning toward, as long as we document that it's $1,000 for one time. I mean, if the gravel something needs to be redone, I don't want to pay for that. But I think given the swap of the services that Mike Carolyn points out, it's almost equal. To hear Marion PD state about the unsafe conditions, I feel like it's almost a wash, and then we're also accommodating the business's request. So in my mind, I'm changing from what I was leaning toward on Tuesday based on everything that I've heard and the answer to my questions, that I would support the one-time $1,000 expense to gravel in addition to the easement.
Mr. Brandt?
I would like to revisit what Mr. Draper brought up earlier about
Tom's lot. Is that getting paved? Is that getting asphalt?
It's not a capital project.
Okay. So that was okay.
As much as I wish as it was.
Something picking it up and moving it, and there would be to just redo it.
Okay, never mind then.
Crazy.
If that was getting paved, I could potentially do something, but.
Do you have a comment?
No, sir. I don't.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Jensen.
Yeah, again, I'd probably have a little different opinion tonight after listening to all of the comments, and especially the comments about the safety on 7th Avenue. And again, I was just telling Nick here that the mayor, that as soon as everybody passes 13th Street or 14th Street, they're shifting over into that right lane because of the roundabout. And so if there's a semi there, that is, I agree with the chief, that does have an acting concern. And the fact that, it takes 2 years for an even swap out, I'd be absolutely fine providing the gravel. But again, on a separate discussion, I would also be interested in other opinions up here about whether we would want to sell that lot. So aside from the easement, those are two different comments, but as far as the easement goes, I would agree with Renee.
Easement and the gravel?
Yes, with gravel. So that'd be an amendment.
So yeah, at some point, if that's what people want, we would need an amendment.
Right.
To be, a motion to be made for an amendment and then discuss that and vote. Yes, ma'am.
So I appreciate those questions. Those were the same questions I had, Renee, so thank you. I too would agree. It makes a lot of sense that we support the easement and place the gravel based on what we heard tonight. That safety issue is a big one. And I would also follow what Steve said. Our goal isn't to chase businesses that have been in the community for a long time, so figuring out how to work together long term will be important, whatever that looks like. So I'd be in support of investigating what we might do with that property moving forward too.
Your Honor,
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to point out that if a motion is made to amend this to include placement of the gravel, that you would also potentially want to make a motion to amend it to reflect that they would maintain the entire lot. That is not how it's written as of now.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Other discussion?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So if they were to maintain that lot in this agreement, and let's say they did not maintain it, and there was a letter sent from Parks Department saying they need to mow type of, or is that how it would work still? Would it still be a municipal infraction if they don't maintain it because it's in the easement that they maintain it? Not that you're not going to maintain it, just a question.
Well,
how that would work with when in this situation.
We would be back to landlord.
If I can, or
Go ahead, if you would like to.
I think they'd be in violation of the agreement if they agreed to, and then we could terminate the easement agreement on a 30-day. So and that's the power of the council, not staff.
Okay.
So we would come back. The conditions of the agreement are not being met. What do you want to do? That would be directed at the council to determine if you want to terminate the agreement, extend it, or what.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the infraction goes against the property owner, so I would not recommend filing that.
I didn't hear that.
Good one.
Okay, is there any further discussion, or is anyone willing to make the amendment motion?
Steve and Randy always do such a beautiful job
Yeah,
of that.
Mayor, I make a motion to amend resolution number 27836 to read that the city will pay for up to $1,000 of gravel and that Marion Janitorial Supply will be required to maintain the entire lot.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to amend resolution number 27836 to add that the city will pay up to $1,000 of gravel application on the easement, and to require that the grantees of the easement will maintain the entire city-owned property. I think that's it, right? Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, here's my other question. The parking lot that's on the property.
Wait, so right now the discussion is about the amendment.
Yep.
So this is about the
Yep.
amendment? Okay,
Yep.
go
So
ahead.
if they're maintaining the entire property, does that also include that parking lot? Because that is on the property. I don't know who uses that parking lot or what, but.
Maybe it should include mowing.
Mowing?
So just saying mowing.
I think that
okay.
was the intent.
Yeah.
Well, that.
Yeah.
But maintaining the
But
lot would be that parking lot also. So.
The parking
Sorry.
lot?
Yeah, the parking lot.
Cars are parked.
The encroaching parking?
Yes.
Yes.
Precisely.
Oh. Yeah. I think the understanding is that, everyone's understanding is that it's mowing the lawn. Okay. Is that okay if we just add that without having to formally?
That's fine with me.
I mean, that's
I just
everyone's
wanted to clarify
understanding?
I'd like to add one thing to that. I want to make sure we're perfectly clear. There's no maintenance, no snow removal, no nothing, because we get 2 feet of snow in there and that is jammed. So I'm assuming you're going to remove snow as well. With a nod of the head, they're saying yes. Okay. I want to make sure.
Okay, so
Let's just put all maintenance on there to make sure we're clear.
I would just. Sorry.
This is a landlord deal again, and I'm not real comfortable with it, but that's where we're at.
Sure.
I would assume the streets are still going to be streets to where they end, where they've always ended, and be maintained by the city with snow removal and stuff, correct?
Right.
Has that lot been used in the past, and Ryan's not here for this, but for pushing the snow onto it for the roads? They're nodding their heads, yes.
All
So
those roads have dead ends where they can turn around with the snow equipment.
We'll have to make sure that they can't, or that the plows aren't putting snow onto plowing snow onto that drive there. That makes sense?
Okay.
Anyway.
Any further discussion on the proposed amendment? Okay, all those in favor of amending Resolution 27836, provide that the city will pay for up to $1,000 for gravel application on the easement area, and that the grantee of the easement will maintain the city-owned property, including lawn mowing and snow removal. Say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Okay, the motion is now amended. So, any further discussion on the amended resolution? Okay, all those in favor of resolution number 27836 regarding the public access easement at 637 16th Street granted to Marion Janitorial Supply Company as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Steffen. I just want to say that, sometimes your processes and your, fear of how things are done tell you should do things in one way, but your gut tells you that something else feels right, and I think that's what we did here, and this felt like a right decision, and I just want to thank the council.
Mayor, I move to receive and file signed purchase agreement related to the city acquisition of a portion of property from QA Properties Incorporated associated with Central Corridor Project Phase 4 located at 600 19th Street.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to receive and file signed purchase agreement relating to the city acquisition of a portion of property from QA Properties, Inc., associated with Central Corridor Project Phase 4, located at 600 19th Street. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion to receive and file, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say no. The motion is approved. This time we have a time set aside for public comments on any item that was not on tonight's agenda. This can be any item at all of concern. If anyone would like to address the council, please come forward. Okay. Seeing that no one is coming forward, we will move on to council discussion. Ms. Gadela?
Okay.
Yay, I get to go first. I have a
Yes.
feeling we're all going to talk about something in particular, the Eat, Drink, and Be Marion, because it was so wildly successful and I saw everybody there. So I expect there'll be a lot of comments on it. But it was just an incredible event. The fact that it raised $11,000 for the Uptown is wonderful. I love how everybody who attended got to vote about how they wanted the funds to be used. I thought that was neat, getting everyone involved that way. I completed a survey that I received today to my email based on my registration, so I like the follow through on that and the solicitation for feedback on how to continuously improve the event. And I also want to say that I took my dog to Lau Park today for a walk before it got too hot, and I'm so impressed by the all-inclusive playground that has got to be closed. I mean, they were still working, but it blends in so well with the natural landscaping there. I mean, just the rooftop shingles, the landscaping, the color palette. It just looks great. I can't wait for that ribbon cutting. It's just another beautiful project in Marion. That's all I have.
A ribbon cutting anytime soon?
Put them on the spot.
We still, we're still in the phase of punch listing the project, so we're hopeful, based on project meeting this week with the general contractor, that they'll complete their construction phase by the end of the month. So we're probably going to look at that ribbon cutting dedication sometime second week of August. We're hopeful of that at this time.
Excellent. Very soon. That's great. Mr. Brandt.
I will second what Renee said about Eat, Drink, and Be Marion, and that is all. Make it quick.
Mr. Ned.
Yes, thank you. I'll just echo that again as well. I'm sure everybody's going to have a little bit to put in on that. I just want to reach out as well, too. I've had some feedback and some residents that had reached out to me over the last couple of weeks in reference to the overgrown foliage out there at Willow Park. I reached out to Mike and Mike Simprinch. I just, again, thank you. You folks went out, talked to the landlord, talked to the tenants, cut them back. It's incredible. I mean, that was really a bad spot when you come up out of that ravine there from the park. It was very unsafe. I drove it as well, too, and you literally have to be out in the road in order to be seen and to see the ongoing traffic. So thank you again. Very responsive. All of our departments do a great job. I like to just try to bring these forward when I see these ASAP and make recognition of them. Also, too, we'll be unfortunately losing some of our residents here next week. It is Ragbri. So I just want to wish everybody safe travels. My wife will be writing it, and I will be leaving at 4:30 Saturday morning for Council Bluffs. So anyway, for those that are going to be attending that, safe journeys and travels. It's 427 miles journey this year, and the forecast is hot. So thank you.
Thank you. Steve?
A couple things. I didn't get to go to Eat, Drink, and Be Marion because all I do is go to baseball when I'm not here, which goes along with Marion's boys' baseball first district game is Friday night, so 7 p.m. It's going to be a guy named Rick Atkins on the mound, so I invite you all to come watch him pitch a game or two. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's our last high school baseball season, so that's coming to a close. Second thing, we had a chance to go to the dueling pianos out at Lau Park, and once again, another really great time. I went to the Purple Experience and had a good time there, so appreciate all of the work that's done on that. And then lastly, I've been taking some time trying to figure out if this city council stuff, I can do it, and I've decided to run for the seat in Ward 1 here this fall. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Draper.
How do you follow up that?
I don't know. I do have just a couple items, and I'm in the healthiest week in the world, and I was at the Mayo Clinic. And if any of you ever have an opportunity to be in Rochester, Minnesota, make sure that you take the tour through the Mayo Clinic. You can go through the old buildings and the new ones. And in 1863, they had a tornado hit Rochester, and had a Dr. Mayo there without any facilities for injuries. And the Catholic Church agreed to build a small hospital. and they built a hospital with 25 rooms. That hospital is now 2,560 rooms, and I was in there for one day. You can get lost trying to get out of the place. So it's grown considerably. Mayo Clinic has 6,780 employees and 5,000 doctors, and they have 6,000 hotel rooms in Rochester. So when you don't have anything to do and you're a historian, you have a tendency to go to the library and if you have an opportunity and read some things. So that's where the info comes. But if you do have an opportunity at some point in your life to be in Rochester, make sure you go through the Mayo Clinic. It's #1 in the world, and it certainly is worthwhile, worth the trip.
That's all? Okay.
Here's the mail.
No historical education to this.
That was 1863 is the best they can do.
Okay. Well, for my part, I want to thank the council. I think, I just continue to be impressed by how this council deliberates and is very thoughtful about issues and is very interested in making good decisions. And we don't always agree, and that's good. And we challenge each other, and I think ultimately that's good for the city. And we collectively make the good decisions that are good for the greatest number of people in our town. And I think sometimes, we have a lot of questions like the discussion on the road issue tonight. And I think we have to keep reminding ourselves that we do have qualified professional staff to rely on, and our job is to look at the big picture and make the decisions based on their advice. And we have, a very qualified city manager and all of the directors and all of the staff, and we are really lucky to have smart, committed people to be able to advise us in making these decisions, and that we can rely on their advice. Over the past few weeks since the last meeting, we had finally the ribbon cutting for the Marriott Hotel, which we've been anticipating for a long time, and that was a big one from the standpoint that it's a symbol of what's happening in Marion in terms of our reaching higher and our making things better for our community. When it's hard to remember what that site looked like before that major improvement and investment on that site. It was an industrial site, and it was the most complained about issue in our city as people were driving through. And you see that now in the development that has been spurred around it. It's acting as a catalyst. And so that was a very good event that was very well attended. Yesterday we had a ribbon cutting for Delaney Concrete Contractors for their reconstructed building after the fire, and that was also very well attended. Another good business in Marion that employs people and provides jobs and contributes to our economy. And I was glad to represent all of you there yesterday. The Uptown Market was last weekend, another very successful community event that the Chamber puts on. The community fireworks received such great response from the public. Everything that happens at Love Park, free to the public, which is really a great amenity and a great asset that's become a regional amenity. Everyone in the region knows Love Park, from dueling pianos to the concerts to the fireworks to everything else that goes on out there, including the yoga every Saturday morning, sunrise yoga, which is attended by, we heard the other day, over 100 people each time on average. These are great community things that give people pride in where they live, and make them feel good about their town. And we are building that emotional connection. We have a lot of new people that move to the community all the time, and that we're helping them build that emotional connection to their city and to really consider Marion their hometown. And we're seeing that in the last couple of years, and it's really neat. And that was really evident in Eat, Drink, and Be Marion. You saw all those people turn out, and they were just so proud to be there, and so proud to support the Uptown, and so proud to say they're from Marion. And they brought their friends from Robbins and Cedar Rapids and Hiawatha and everywhere, and very proudly, showed off Uptown to them. That's really an amazing thing to see, and it's wish it was like that all the time, but that's the goal, and that's what we're working for, is to see that activity in the Uptown and to see it truly be the living room, not only of Marion, but of the region. And I think it has that potential, and I think that we all believe in that. And there's a lot of people working to achieve that vision, and it's great. Tomorrow, we'll be welcoming the Japanese Consul General from the Chicago Consulate here to Marion. He's here with a group of people and from the consulate, and they're here to tour our area. So we'll be with them for half a day tomorrow and welcome them on behalf of the residents of Marion to our city. And we're hosting them for breakfast, and we'll have a chance to talk about business relations between Japanese businesses and the city of Marion and in our metro area. So thank you all for your patience tonight and for all your good work, and have a great weekend. See you next time. Meeting is adjourned.